Hello and welcome to the Fifth Sparrow No More. I am Kristen and we are sleighing it, but they're not really sleighs. They're sleds, but there's not any cute way to say we're sledding it. No, that doesn't sound right. So we are making over some sleds today. All right, it is time to work on the one thing that's not like the other. We're working on this cheese box that I got at the thrift store, and it doesn't have a price on it, but I know that I got it super cheap. The little doll on the top and the hearts on the side, they are not what I want this. I don't think they're in trendy in style anymore. So we are going to sand just the painted areas to make them smooth. We're going to paint just the top white and just the sides white, so the banding is still the original wood color, and then put our paint inlay on it. So let's get started with just sanding down the hearts and the little doll, and then we can do an assembly line and paint all of our sleds and sled parts and the cheese box white. I'm just going to hand sand this because I don't really want to damage the box because this wood is fairly thin. So I'm just going to hand sand it just to knock down that raised edge, and so it hopefully doesn't show through our white paint. All right, I've got everything lined up that I want to paint, and I'm going to use a new color, and it is Elderflower by Dixie Belle. It's a silk mineral paint, so it has a base coat, the paint, and a top coat, so that should cut down on all the things that putting on a top coat and that kind of thing.
This Santa is from the 12th Night Paint Inlay, and the way that you do a paint inlay is to paint a layer of paint or a layer of top coat on your project. While that is still wet, you're going to mist the paint side of your paint inlay and then stick that into that wet paint or top coat layer and smooth that down. Once you have it misted on the paint side and have it stuck to your project, you're going to mist the top of it and then dab off any extra water. Paint inlay dries, I'm going to use some brown wax on the cheese box body, I guess you'd call it. So I'll just put on some brown wax from Dixie Belle, and then I'm going to use a baby wipe to wipe a lot of that back, so it just kind of sits into the little nooks and crannies and crevices of the cheese box. And I like the way that it came out, and didn't make it too dirty. It just distressed it. You can let your paint inlay dry and then remove, but I'm somewhat impatient. So I'm going to use a hair dryer and going to dry that paint inlay. And you can see as you dry it and use the hair dryer that the paint inlay will change from a darker color to a light gray color, and then you'll know that it's dry. So now you mist it again with the water, dab off any extra with a dry paper towel, and then peel that paint inlay back and see what it has done underneath. Now,
To do the same that we did on the body of the box to the top. And I sealed this with a couple of coats of clear matte polyacrylic, just so the um, paint inlay would not run. We're going to see how this goes. I don't know if I can use a wet wipe like I did on Let's test it. Okay, looks like it's going to work. Looks like it's going to work. So this one is pretty rough shape, and I have a plan to cut out the pieces of wood instead of trying to fix these to replace those broken parts. All right, this first project is the sleigh that has seen better days. Sled that's seen better days. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep calling a sled a sleigh and a sleigh a sled because I did not grow up with these and I can't keep track. So we're going to first disassemble it and make some new wood pieces by tracing and cutting those out with a jigsaw. And then we are going to paint and get this made over. All right, we've got the pieces disassembled and we're going to trace them on the piece of wood and get those cut out. Now this piece of wood came out of a box, some packing material that for one of Dad's car parts, and Dad and I were like, we gotta save that. And I'm so glad we did because now I can use it for this project. I don't need the middle parts because we're going to use, it's going to be solid, so we can put the paint transfer on. So this is trash. I'll make our life easy and line this up on the edge. Just like that. All right, I'm going to cut these out with the jigsaw. I'm just going to sand the edges to get off all the sharp bits, and when I was cutting it, it came apart here, so I'm going to use some wood glue and squish that back together. So let me sand it, and then we'll use some wood glue and get it put back together. Just going to use some wood glue and squish it under there, and then put clamps on it to put it back together. Put some on this brush. It's a basting brush from the kitchen, but not used in the kitchen anymore. I'm not that weird. Now I've lost my spot to put this. We'll put our clamps on and let that dry.
I will do that. Let's see, something else. Oh, do you think we need to take the scooter?
Yes. Yeah. If we're gonna go anywhere with mom, like, you know, she probably won't take it to the wedding or anything, but like if we go sightsee, I mean, I don't know what the plans are. You know, if we go sightsee or something, she's gonna need, because I mean, like when we went shopping.
Did you read the right side of that?
No, I did not, because I wasn't paying attention. But it's fine. It's fine. It's good. If water soaks through paper, it's gonna be fine.
Okay, you can soak the other side too.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'll do. Anywho, I'm so glad that you know what you're doing. You should be on. You should be on these videos. But yeah, if we do anything, because like when we were doing that shopping, like she went to those 2 stores and then she was done. She was like, I can't do anymore. So Hello, it's future Kristen, and I want to tell you that I wanted to entitle this video "Do Not Operate Under the Effects of Cold Medication." um, so, that being said, take this video for the ideas, not so much the execution. I'll kind of walk through what mistakes I made and how we fixed them throughout the video. So let's roll that beautiful, chaotic footage.
Alrighty, so well, not we, um, I put those paint inlay sheets on backwards, and it did not turn out very well. In one instance, it didn't stick at all. Other instances, it just decoupaged the paper to the sled. So for this sled with metal legs, I went ahead and sanded off the paint inlay, the little paper that stuck, excuse me, and then put on another coat of that white paint. I'm using transfers from the Kitschy Christmas transfer from last year, and the transfers from this year. I believe it was the Santa's Hollow transfer for the words. And I'm just going to get these transfers applied to the sled. See, I can't remember which is which. Um, and and bring this project to an end. This paint inlay I actually put on correctly, and it worked, but I needed it to go with the transfer. So I'm putting on this holly leaf border on top of the paint inlay, and then that way I don't need to sand it back down or paint it. It just went right over the paint inlay. To distress and age these, I put on some brown wax all over, and then wiped some of it back, and then used clear wax as an eraser because it was still too dark to on top of that paint inlay and the um, transfer. So I'm just going to wipe that brown wax back. Still not happy with it, so I'm going to use a baby wipe and wipe that brown wax back, and, and so that will be aged the way that I want it to or envisioned.
we are going to work on these two wooden sleighs. They're just like a wall hanging. Okay, our second set of sleighs are these two, and they're just, you know, thin wood, probably from the craft store, but I got them in a thrift store. And first thing I'm going to do is take off this twine. I don't know if we're going to reuse this twine or use something else. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that, make painting easier. And we are going to tape off this under part because we're going to paint the runners with patina paint and make them look like rusty metal runners. So let's get this taped off and then we will get to painting. Okay, so we've got our sleds taped off, and we're going to paint just the runners with a patina paint. I have copper and the green spray. All right, so we've put one coat of the patina paint, the copper, on our sled. And the way the product works is we'll put the second coat on, and while that's wet, we'll spritz it with this.
Here we go again with those paint inlays. It did not work. Learned my lesson. I'm going to sand off wet paint from the paint inlay stuck, as well as the paper that decoupaged itself to the sled. And this top part, but there was a lot of paper stuck. It definitely decoupaged itself to it. And I think that on cold medication boxes, they should add do not operate paint inlays along with the heavy equipment and driving. I'm just saying, maybe that would be a possibility. So after sanding, I'm going to paint on another coat of the white to cover all of this up, and then we are going to put on some transfers from the Santa's Hollow book, I believe. I can't remember off the top of my head which ones they are, but I believe it's Santa's Hollow. I'm going to lay out all of the transfers that I cut out to put on this sled, and I'm using the Santa, and then on top of the banner that's at the bottom of the Santa, I'm going to layer some words on top of the transfer, and just a reminder that the transfers can be used how you need them to be used on your project. So um, cut them apart, a layer, and um, put that tape down and put things behind, etc., etc. I used to hoard my transfers, thinking, oh, a better project's going to come along that I need this for, and I really wouldn't use them. So uh, I've gotten over that fear, and now I use them as I need them, and don't hold on to them. So I encourage you to use those transfers the way that your project calls for, and the way that you are envisioning what the finished outcome is. All right, now that those transfers are on, we'll need to seal them. I'm going to use the same distressing sealing method. I'm going to put on the brown wax and then use the clear wax as kind of an eraser, and wipe that back with a paper towel to make sure that it is sealed and protected. Now I'm going to use this velvet ribbon. I get this off of Amazon. I'll link it down below to put the hanger back on the sled. Oh, we took the twine off, and I didn't feel like the twine really matched it now. So I'm using this green velvet ribbon and a brown velvet ribbon, and looping it through those holes and tying a knot on each side. Now this one, excuse me, once again, cold medicine brain kicked in, and I did not sand this, the remnants of this paint inlay back. And this paint, as you'll see in just a minute, um, just ran into the white paint and created a couple of splotchy places. So I'm going to take the hair dryer and dry the paint really well, and then put another coat of white on top. And you can see those spots coming through of the paint inlay where it just kind of bled through, tinted the white paint. And but this, I don't even know what coat of paint we're on at this point in time, fourth maybe. But this coat of paint is going to cover up all of that paint inlay. So if you do have a paint inlay mishap, like I have, make sure that you do sand off most of that paint inlay, so you can and go right in and paint on top and go a different route with your project. Now the paint inlay that I put on the top of the sled was in worked perfectly. I apparently put it on the correct way. So I'm not going to worry about that, covering that up or putting a transfer on top of it. However, when I put the wax on, as you can see in just a minute, it did smudge it, and but I just went with it and said it was distress. That's where I was going with that. Decided to pivot again. So we're going to say it's distressed up at the top. So let's get this paint, excuse me, let's get this transfer applied, and then use the same waxing method, brown wax, clear wax to erase, and a wet and a paper towel or baby wipe to wipe that wax back.